name's Shell. Welcome to my channel where I'm losing weight using the Slimming World plan. This week I've called my video The Biggest Loser, but what I haven't lost is weight. But I seem to, over the last fortnight since I last did a video, have lost a lot of other things, one of which is the plot. So I want to talk about what's happened the last fortnight and how I've managed to change things. One of the best consultants, leaders, whatever you want to call them, I ever had was a consultant with Weight Watchers online, and he was a bloke from Yorkshire, and he was so good. When I went back to Weight Watchers after not doing it for a while, he wasn't there anymore, which I was really disappointed about. And one of the things he always used to do was he'd never let us say, when he asked what you're going to do next week, he would never let us say, I'm going to do more exercise or I'm going to make some new meals. He would always say, well, you've got to follow that up with, well, what are you going to do? Not that you're going to do more exercise. He wanted a concrete thing. You always had to say, well, I'm going to do more exercise because what I'm going to do is on Monday, I'm going to go for a walk at 8 o'clock. You had to follow it up with a concrete way of how you were going to enforce the things that you wanted. And I was thinking about that this week, and I thought, this is what I'm going to have to do to get myself back on track. It's 2 weeks since I've done a video, and the first week that I had a very difficult week. I started HRT that week, and although the doctor had said that I could have a lot of problems in the first week, I think, even though she'd said that, I think I was hoping that I'd put the patch on and I'd feel the hormones racing around my body like a sudden spurt of energy. And that wasn't how it was going to be. I was quite ill the first week, although I did think that I got glimpses of how things might be better at times, but the first week was very, very hard, and I spent an awful lot of time in bed. Actually, I just did not have the energy to do anything, and I felt sick and I had bloating, and it was really hard. And at the beginning of that first week, Andy and I went out for a meal in Liverpool and had a meal off plan, but when I got home I was on plan 100% of the time for the rest of the week. But I really did not enjoy any of it. I didn't want to do it. I was doing it all under sufferance, and the meals that I'd enjoyed before now seemed like a trial. I didn't want to stick to plan, but I did it. And I didn't feel well. I went to group on the Tuesday and I lost 1.5 pounds, so that was something. I was pleased with that, but by the time I got home from group, because I hadn't enjoyed the week, I didn't bother going back on plan, and I was actually off plan for pretty much the whole rest of the next week. And in that week, when I went to group on Tuesday, I put on 3 pounds. And this puts me now at 9 stone 7.5, which is £0.5 pound over my first target weight, which was very disappointing, and it's not where I wanted to be. So I decided to sit down and write a list of why I don't feel the same anymore about being on plan. And it was very interesting, and I did do a video last week from the channel, and fortunately it was a couple of days before it could be posted, and in those 2 days I thought, you can't post that. It was so miserable and so downhearted and full of complaints that I didn't want to inflict it on anybody, so I didn't post it. But that video made me think. I thought about all the things that I said in the video and decided that this week I was going to have to find a way to feel better about everything. So I haven't actually got the list now, but I'll try and remember what things were on it. One of the things was that I had a big gain when I went away. It's getting on for a couple of months ago now, where I put on just over 10 pounds. I think it was 10.5 pounds. And that then meant I wasn't going to make my target weight by Christmas, which was something that I've had in mind to do all year, and it's something that I wouldn't have had to have pushed for. Just losing £1 and £0.5 all year, I could have got there easily, But now putting on the 10.5 pounds, it meant that I wasn't going to do it. Not unless I really pushed for it, which I'm not prepared to do. But I wouldn't be able to just easily lose weight and meet the target by Christmas. Now, I know that that shouldn't be something that matters, but it did matter to me because I felt like a lot of the momentum had gone out of what I was doing. Even though I felt so much better, there was something about not meeting the target by Christmas. I mean, I probably would meet it at the end of January, so what does it matter? I don't know. These things mess with your psychology somehow. But that did affect me. And also, going to group, we got these pieces of paper 12 weeks ago, which was pretty much when I was already having problems. And I can't remember what it says on it now, but it says something like 12 weeks, 12 opportunities. And we would, if you fill this in and you've lost a stone by Christmas, if this is filled in, you get put into a draw to win a 6-week countdown, which is great, and I'm sure a lot of people find that really motivational, but it didn't make me feel motivated. It made me feel pressured. And in a time, I think the run up to Christmas is a hard time where you seem to have more pressure to lose more weight. The talking group every week is how much can you lose, and we're really going to push it for Christmas. You know, how much can you lose before then? And it seems to be a lot of pressure during a time where things are difficult enough just to stay on plan at all. If you're going out and you're going away, there are parties, and I kind of let this get to me because I always find Christmas very hard, and nearly every time I've gone off plan before Christmas, totally lost it and had to start again in January. So I was thinking about this and I thought, well, you're 9.5 stone. If I was to get to January the 1st and be 9.5 stone, I would be over the moon, and that would be without losing anything. So why not just take the pressure off, forget about all this Christmas goals, pushing it for Christmas, all the different pressures, and just maybe even think, if I don't lose any weight between now and the new year, how happy I would be being 9.5 stone on New Year's Eve. So that made me feel an awful lot better, and it made me just feel that I'm not having to really try and be as strict, just ease off a little bit and just be a bit kinder and just not put the pressure on. So that made me feel better straight away. Now the other thing was the health factors, starting with the HRT. As I say, the first week I felt terrible. The second week I've had glimpses of feeling better. And I've had another health problem that's been ongoing for a while, which has been to do with my throat and the whole, I don't know what you call it, your whole canal going down into the middle of your chest and up the back of your nose. And it's been causing me problems for a couple of months now. And it's been getting worse and worse, and I didn't want to go to the doctor because all he'd do is give me antibiotics, which I don't do very well with. So I've been trying to combat it, do different things, but it was just getting worse and worse, and I could feel inflammation going around my whole body, and it was dragging me down, and I was starting to having to go to bed every day in the afternoon just to try and get some energy, and it was really affecting my whole life. It was getting very difficult, and I didn't know what the cause was. And I think once you get over 50, heading up to 60, every time you get something like this, you're starting to worry, is this something really bad? And as well, my treadmill broke down. I had no treadmill, and so exercise stopped. And when my exercise stopped, I just don't feel as good. I just don't feel as happy in myself. So that happened as well, and I put off getting another treadmill because I was thinking to myself, what if this is something not good and I'm not going to get better? It would be a waste of money buying a treadmill, because I didn't even think, I used to do an hour and a half on the treadmill. I got to the stage where I couldn't even do 5 minutes, I don't think, because my breathing was suffering. And I noticed that all this problem was in all the right hand side of that part of my body. So it was in the back of my nose. I don't know what is that. is that sinuses, that thing that gets painful sometimes before a cold. It was all there, all in me, what I think of me right tonsils. I had a big lump in my throat the whole time for weeks, and it was bobbing up and down every time I swallowed, and right down into the middle of my chest. When I swallowed anything, I could feel almost as if it was going past something painful. And I thought, I'm going to have to go to the doctor and find out what's wrong. But the first thing I did was go to Dr. Google. I've got to get this sorted because it's just getting progressively worse. So I started to Google, and I did Google for a day or two with different, putting in the symptoms with AI and different things to try and find a cause. And one of the things that kept coming up again was people saying about having hiccups. And that made me suddenly think, and I think everything has clicked into place, and the cause is so ridiculously simple. But I've only known about this for a couple of days, so I don't want to say too much. But every time I have a whiskey, I get hiccups, and it's always been a running joke. I have my first sip, I get wild hiccups for a few minutes, and then I'm fine. And the only thing I've done differently since doing Slimming World this year is I've spent my sins every night on a single Jack Daniels before bed. And every time I get hiccups, I have a sip, I get hiccups, I make the single Jack Daniels last half an hour before bed, but then I hadn't thought about it, but every time I get into bed, I've always got indigestion, so I'm always taking Rennie before getting into bed. And I suddenly thought, I wonder if through the night I'm getting acid in my throat, which made sense because I always sleep on my right hand side, always, and it's the whole right hand side of all this part of me, breathing and swallowing that's been affected. So 2 or 3 days ago, I cut out the Jack Daniels, which is it doesn't bother me at all. It's only a small thing. It's only a thing I have for a treat. I'm not that bothered with alcohol. I never have more. I'm not a big drinker. So it's nothing to me to cut that out. And since then, I've started to feel a lot better. But it's only been 2 or 3 days. But I'm beginning to wonder if something just as simple as having that one single whiskey before bed every night has been over time making a big difference. I think perhaps every night when I've been asleep, something's been coming up and burning the inside of my throat. So just knowing that and thinking whether that is the actual cause, and I have a sneaking suspicion, well, more than a sneaking suspicion that it is, just knowing that and thinking that I might actually know what's caused this has made me feel 1,000,000% better, an absolute 1,000,000% better. Then I watched a video, I think, what's that old Greek saying that when the subscriber is ready, the YouTuber will come along. That's what happened to me last week when I watched somebody's videos who I love, is Byron the Vegan Loser, and he put up a video last week, and I'll put a link to his channel if you haven't seen him because he's absolutely brilliant to watch. But he put up a video last week and he talked about 3 main things. He first talked about his plan and his food, as he usually does, which I enjoy. Then he spoke about his treadmill, and he spoke about how he'd outgrown his it's like a walking pad that he had, that he'd borrowed, and that he'd now started going to the gym and he was on a much better treadmill and how much he was enjoying it. And I suddenly thought, why don't you just do something about this? Get a treadmill, because I really missed it. And not having the treadmill there, I didn't feel motivated to do much else. So I went online and I found a treadmill, and just as I went onto Amazon, they had the one that was absolutely perfect for me, was on a Prime deal offer for £250 less, and it's called I think it's the Kitopa, Kitopa, Kitopa 2025 treadmill. It was normally about £700 and I got it for £450, and it arrived yesterday and we put it up and it is absolutely perfect. It's everything that I wanted, and I was prepared to pay a lot more for it. And I found that with that coming yesterday and me not having the Jack Daniels for 2 or 3 days, the throat's improving, I can breathe properly. I could only do 20 minutes, at a time. I did 20 minutes last night and I did 20 minutes this morning, but it's a lot better than I thought I was going to be able to do, which is another huge pick-me-up. And also, Byron spoke about his love of crochet, and he was crocheting a blanket, which he was showing on the channel. Now, I have always crocheted and knitted all my life, and I absolutely love it. I do it every single night, but for the last year, since the menopause, I've had arthritis and not been able to do any, and it's been very, very depressing because I love crafting. And I actually stopped going to my craft club because I was so fed up with everybody talking about their crafts when I couldn't do any. Last winter, my hands were so arthritic that I had to wear compression gloves and cover my hands in ibuprofen gel before bed, because when I woke up in the morning, my hands were stuck into fists that I couldn't open them. I had to put my hands in hot water, and my wrists were so sore I couldn't even pick the kettle up to pour a drink. It was terrible. It went away in the summer, but I could feel it starting to come back this winter, and I was just dreading it. But when Byron spoke about his crochet, all of a sudden I noticed that all the arthritis had just gone out of my hands. This is just after 2 weeks of being on HRT. I had known that it was going to help with arthritis, but I hadn't really realised what a massive difference it would make. And my hands have gone back to just completely normal. All the arthritis has just gone out of them. And that meant I could pick up my crochet hooks, and I've started, well, I haven't actually started making a blanket yet. I'm going to start tonight. I've picked out a pattern. But just being able to sit at night and do crochet it was absolutely amazing to me to be able to do that. And also the HRT is starting to make me feel better generally now. After a fortnight, I am starting to feel so much better. So everything is really, really picking up. And to be able to exercise, to be able to crochet, to be able to feel like being bothered to do meals, to get my head sorted out about all the things to do with group. Because as well, when you've had a big gain and you've put 10 pounds on, I found that when I was going to group, and she said, when I'd lost the 1.5 pounds in the first week, you've lost 1.5 pounds, oh well done Michelle, you've lost 2 stone 5, I think it was then. But it didn't feel like anything to me, because I was thinking, well, I had lost nearly 3 stone. So, rather than making me feel, ooh, brilliant, 2 stone 5, I was just thinking, oh God, such a way, look at what you've done. And it was more depressing than making me feel enthusiastic. So I had to talk to myself about that and think, well, all the things that you normally think, well, look at how far you've come. It's not going to take you that long to get back there. Forget about all the things to do with Christmas and goals and setting and targets before New Year, all these things. I had to really talk to myself about that, and it has helped enormously. So doing my video last week, although you didn't get to see it, it really, really helped me, and it made me think about all the things I was complaining about and decide what I was going to do to stop it all. And I think I've managed to do it now. I really feel that I'm back on track. I'm excited about my meals. I did get the 3 cookbooks this week that we got when you got the 12-week countdown before Christmas. I got the 3 books on CD, which I haven't looked at yet, but I will do, and I'm going to pick some new meals to make. And I just feel like I've got, I know you say your mojo, I don't know what your mojo is, but whatever it was, I think I'd lost it, and I do feel now that I've got it back. I really feel like I'm back to where I was before and ready to continue, and I just feel great again now. So that's what I wanted to come on and say. I was last 2 weeks the biggest loser, and now I'm ready to actually start losing weight again, rather than losing everything that I was working towards. So I hope you've had a better fortnight than me, and if you haven't had a good fortnight like me, I hope that you can find a way of sitting down, writing down all the things that you think are causing it, and perhaps find a concrete way out of it if you can. If you can think of what you can do to try and break these thoughts that come along to us, and sometimes they're quite irrational, and it isn't, I mean, let's face it, it's not the plan that there is a problem with, it's our attitude to it. And sometimes there are things that block you wanting to do what you know will make you feel better. Anyway, that's my philosophy. I hope everyone's had a good week, and I really look forward to catching up with you next week, hopefully back on track and losing weight again. And thank you so much, Byron, for your wonderfully inspirational video, which really helped me turn my week around. Take care for now. I'll see you next week. Bye. Oh, and I hope you see less of me. I got to say that, or else Lisa and Rufus won't think it's me anymore. Bye.